Kelowna, one of the most beautiful places in the world to live, surrounded by provincial parks, pine forests, vineyards, orchards, and mountains. Wouldn't it be great if there was a podcast about our love of Kelowna? Oh no, it's real. This is I Love Kelowna, an interview-style podcast about the fabulous and fascinating people that make up our great city and the Okanagan. Intimate conversations with entrepreneurs, executives, thought leaders, creatives, and anyone who has an interesting story to tell about how they're contributing to our wonderful home. This is I Love Kelowna, and here's your host, Luke J. Minkus.
Yeah, that realm is hard to find.
All right. So I'm sitting here today. It's July 7th, 2023. This is going to be episode 240 of the I Love Kelowna podcast. It's been a long time.
Wow.
And I'm sitting here with Mark Tompkins, who was here back in late 2018. We published an episode February 5th, 2019. That was episode 62. Mark Tompkins, welcome back.
Crazy. Thanks for having me back. And yeah, we got lots to talk about.
We sure do. And it's great to see you. And you were very persistent. And I've been procrastinating, trying to get the show relaunched. And you were persistent. So here we are. And I thank you for that.
Well, if anybody knows me, they know I like to be out there and doing whatever I can. So a podcast is perfect for me.
Right. And you're one of the rare guests that we've had that was actually born and raised in Kelowna. Probably 95% of the people I talk to either live somewhere else or were born and raised somewhere else and moved to Kelowna later.
Yeah. Born in KGH.
Right. Now you are an actor.
Yes.
Today. You were doing something different a few years ago when we spoke. And I want to talk a little bit about your childhood in Kelowna. Is there anything there that kind of led you to this point now, becoming an actor? So tell us a bit about what it was like growing up in Kelowna.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of funny you asked that because I didn't think about it until right now, but my parents, even my grandparents, always had a video camera. So I grew up with video cameras, and, you know, I growing up in Kelowna, we were up in East Kelowna in the orchards there and picking apples and cherries and all the fun stuff. But yeah, I always had a camera around. So without me knowing it, you know, 40 some years later, now I'm doing movies and commercials and stuff. So,
right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, you know, my parents and grandparents laid the groundwork, obviously.
Right.
And then, yeah, so it's a pretty cool journey.
So among your family, if the parents, grandparents would bring out the video camera, were you always jumping in front of the other kids and like you were trying to be the star of the show?
Both, doing the camera work and being the star of the show, or having parties and just being the guy cleaning up.
Yeah. Right.
So if you watch my parties back in the day, I've got used to have my video camera everywhere, and all my friends, and they'd be partying and I'd be cleaning the house up. So
right. So you would narrate your cleanup operation?
No, they would just catch me cleaning up.
Oh,
so
I see.
People would take the camera, like you'd have 10 different camera guys throughout the night. So.
Yeah. That's crazy. So tell us a little bit about the journey. So you were doing tell us what you were doing in 2019, 2018 when we last spoke.
Yeah, so I was, I still am owner of Buzz Marketing, but I'm stepping away. So this will probably be the first time it'll be, but I haven't been in the business for about a year now. So when I met my fiancé, Sequoia Wiseman, about a year and a half ago, we both kind of sat down and said, hey, what do we want to do with our lives? And we both actually by chance had the same agent, and then we decided, hey, we both want to act and maybe do some producing. And since, it took about 2 weeks, and all of a sudden when we actually decided to do it, we ended up shooting a movie together almost right away. And she's had multiple roles, and she's shooting for the stars, and I'm doing some acting and producing as well. So yeah, it just kind of started working out, and put it out into the stars, and it happened.
Right. So, how do you find a role? Do you just like look in classifieds, or how did you get your first gig?
So our agent, Shauna Whitney from VA Entertainment, she finds us all our gigs essentially. So she sends us the auditions. And since COVID happened, it's been a lot easier for actors to actually get roles, because traditionally a lot of the times you would have to actually go in and do live auditions. But now, you just set up the right equipment in your house. So we've got a little studio in our house, and you can do auditions and you send them in. So it's easier. You don't have to travel as much. So it's much better, I think, now. I think it might go back to the older school ways, but we'll take advantage of it while it's here.
That's interesting you say that about COVID, because I find the technology is great. We can do interviews remotely. When I started doing interviews remotely in early 2020 with the COVID thing, the sound quality was terrible. So you notice sometimes on a Zoom call, it'll sound like the person is in a closet, or it'll glitch out. Yeah. And now the software is so advanced, like I could talk to someone in Australia and it sounds like they're sitting right next to me, like we are now. Yeah. But at the same time, I find once the lockdowns and everything were over, people are really craving to have that human connection again. So hopefully it's the best of both worlds. We can use the tech, but also get together. So how does an audition happen? Do you go into a local studio and stand in front of a camera?
No, we just do it right in our own houses. So yeah, we they give us a small script and like the outline of what they want. Yeah, and then we just record it in our house, edit it a little bit, but it's pretty straightforward. You just have to know how to act,
right?
Which is the hard part.
So
I think.
Do you use an iPhone and a tripod, or
you can just use your phone and send it in through that. Yeah, you want a pretty good setup, and you can put some mics on it, and you need a good background, and so there's some technicalities to it, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward. If I can figure it out, almost anybody can.
Right. Are you a perfectionist? Like, will you do an audition 30, 40, 50 times before you're ready to send it? Or is it just like one shot and you send?
No, it depends on what it is.
Right.
I'm not a perfectionist that way, because in my opinion, it's like, just do it. And, you can do it a couple of times as long as the lines are right, and you feel good about your reactions. The learning the lines, you always have to do that. It's like how you react to the other actor, or even pretending to act. When you've got a script there, you've got to react to the other person even though they're not there. So that's a big part of how the choosing is happening, is how you act, besides the actual words.
Right.
Facial expressions and movements and things like that.
So if you have a script, do you just pause when it's the other actor supposedly saying that? Or?
Yeah, you can do it a few different ways. So you can just do your lines, or you can have another actor on the side that's doing the other lines with you, or you can record yourself with timing, and so you can use yourself as the other actor. So you can essentially do it yourself, which works. It's a little bit harder that way, but it's easier when you have somebody there with you.
Right. And what do you prefer to do?
I prefer doing it by myself, because I don't like people looking at me when I'm doing it.
Right.
For some reason, I don't mind being on camera, but it's when it comes down to like actually filming with the lines, because I'm very good at ad-libbing and like just going off the cuff. But when it comes to acting, the lines is a second layer of I have to say it this specific way, so it takes me a little bit longer. Yeah. Sequoia is really good. She can learn lines so quickly, and then her facial expressions and how she acts is amazing. So right. I learned a lot off her.
Cool. Yeah. Are the two of you auditioning for the same parts, or sometimes
different parts? Sometimes the same movie. Like we've auditioned for a few of the same ones. And then there's some independent films, like we're going to be shooting an independent film together later this year. And then, another one as well we're in, which two different roles in the movie. So that's, we're doing one with Kim Coates from Sons of Anarchy and, Lachlan Monroe. So a few other ones. So that's shooting later this year or next year.
Right.
Yeah.
So you do the auditions here at home in Kelowna. And then what happens if you get chosen for a part? You have to travel?
We haven't really had to yet, but Sequoia's gone to a few different places in the Okanagan. But yeah, she was very close to getting rolling in LA and Vancouver, but Kelowna is exploding in the movie industry, and there's a ton of movies here, and there's a lot of infrastructure being done. So a lot of the stuff we're doing is just here in Kelowna, which is awesome.
That's incredible.
Kelowna's exploding.
So your agent will try to pick things that are local, I guess.
No, it doesn't matter. It's local's easier to get because they want a lot of the roles. They want you to be local, so they don't have to pay for, hotels and travel and stuff, which they don't like to do unless you're, a huge actor. So that's down the road.
Right.
It's happening.
Why do you think that is that Kelowna is expanding so much for
well,
that?
from Sequoia's, because she was in it before me, a little bit before when COVID hit. I hate saying COVID all the time. It's annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyways, Kelowna was the first place to really open up. So a lot of the movies came here. And then once they came here, they saw diverse. We have mountains, we have Big White, we've got lake. You can literally be in Hawaii or in Michigan,
right,
and be in the same location. So, Sequoia just shot a movie where in the same day, she was in winter clothes and in summer clothes. So,
right.
So you can pretty much do anything anywhere in Kelowna.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's scenic. And I lived in Los Angeles briefly, and I've lived in Vancouver. And trying to get from one side of the city to the other is it's very time consuming.
Yeah, I heard it's great. I lived in Vancouver and I was like, no way. That's why I like Kelowna. Yeah. In 20 minutes, you can pretty much be anywhere. Mm-hmm. And if people complain about the traffic here, it's not a real thing.
Right. Now,
sorry to all those people that complain.
Right.
It's not real.
No, it's not real. And, people come here and they say, well, which side, if they're retiring in Kelowna, and they say, well, should I check out West Kelowna or Kelowna? And I said, it depends if you need to be somewhere at 8 to 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Right. If you like going to vineyards and golfing and occasionally you want to come downtown for dinner, West Kelowna is amazing. It's incredible. But if you have to work downtown and you got to be on that bridge every morning at 8, you probably want something on this side. But other than a couple of little issues like that, the traffic is not. I grew up in Toronto, and I mean, it's a little weird when people complain about the traffic here.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell us, you got some roles already.
Yeah.
And tell us what that experience was like. Like, did you jump out of your chair when you saw that you got accepted? And
that was one of our first auditions was Sequoia and I. So we actually went into the audition together, mm-hmm. And it was kind of a weird situation because that usually doesn't happen apparently. Mm-hmm. And so we went into the audition, and it was for a gangster movie. So I was playing a gangster, and I can't remember what her role was. She'll probably tell me, but when we auditioned, they actually called us and they're like, we don't like you for the roles, but we're going to write you into the movie. Mm-hmm. So they actually put a role for us. So they made us influencers. So I was her cameraman essentially. And so that's how we got into the movie. So it was really cool to do one of our first ones together.
Very cool. Yeah, was awesome. That filmed here?
In Vernon.
In Vernon.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you drive to Vernon each day? Like, how long of a process was it?
It was just a one-day shoot.
One-day shoot.
Yeah.
So you're sort of like an extra, or?
No, we had roles in there. So she was a reporter, so she had like a speaking role, and then there was a kind of a kerfuffle with one of the gangsters, and he pushes her out of the way, and we're swearing and stuff. So yeah, can't wait till it comes out. It's gonna be cool.
Can you tell us about this movie? Like, when is it coming out?
I'm not sure. It's an independent film, and it's local, so it should be. I think they're still filming some part, so I would assume next year sometime it'll come out.
Yeah.
I don't have too much information that I don't want to say. The movie industry is really like fickle. They don't like you talking too much about it. So before it comes out, they don't like you to.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the I Love Kelowna podcast. Be sure to visit the website at ilovekelowna.buzzsprout.com. Now, your host, Luke J. Minkus.
Yeah, well, I think probably diluting the promotional activities that they're going to do, and they have a launch procedure and all that stuff.
100%.
Yeah. So, do you tell your agent, I only want certain roles, or send me anything that's within this range, or does she just send you stuff and you say, yeah, that looks good, or no?
You have a profile, and then they look through it and they look for certain things and like skills and stuff like that. So, it's the agent has the job of finding the roles for you. I'll take pretty much anything.
Right.
I actually almost got a part where I was going to have to be completely naked. And so I got it. And then I guess he was in Vancouver, so I was going to have to travel. And I think they cast somebody else after the fact. So I was like, okay, well, that was a bit of relief.
Right.
Yeah. So.
I know some famous actors have said that once they got stereotyped in a certain role, it was difficult to transition. But some have pulled it off, like Schwarzenegger with the Terminator and Conan before that. And then, but he was able to transition into comedy. And people said that was impossible because he had a heavy accent and, he's going to play a robot or some, tough guy. But to be in actual comedies would be impossible. But everything they told him was impossible, he was able to do. But I know some actors have said they don't want to be stereotyped. But the thing is, you don't want to turn down a role when you're
I won't speak for Sequoia, but I'll take whatever. I just enjoy it. It's like one of my passions, and that's why I got into it. But then, also after I got into the acting, because I had kind of stepped away from buzz for a little while, and I kind of missed the business world. So that's why I went, I met with Jason Netherton from IWG Corporate Services, and I've been working with them for a while. And I missed the networking meeting, face to face with gentlemen like yourselves and business owners. And so there was an opportunity for me in Sequoia, and we took the opportunity too, because I had to get back in the business world. And so we became VP of sales for IWG Corporate Services. So we're doing both. Like our agendas are more than full. So,
right.
But we're loving every minute of it.
Tell us a bit about WG, what is it, and what do you do there? So
it's corporate services, and what we do is everything from bookkeeping and accounting all the way to merger acquisitions. So we've got a staff of about 20. We hire all local people, so all of our staff are here in Kelowna. And, we've got paralegals, we've got bookkeepers, we've got accountants, and everything else under the sun, HR managers. And we help local businesses, everything from a brand new business that needs incorporations all the way to, big business that just needs help. There's a lot of businesses in Kelowna where they start off making, a couple $100,000 a year, and then 2 years later, they're making millions, and they're overwhelmed and they're overworked, and they're wearing 40 hats and they just don't know who to turn to. So they come to us, and we help them, just get, give them relief. Like I love when they come first meeting with us and they're like, I feel like I have people to help us now instead of just being alone as business owners.
Right.
So it's pretty cool.
Do you do consulting as well? Like if someone needs to get organized, gets better software, things like that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So what we do is we do an organizational health assessment. It's $600. It's the best $600 you'll ever spend as a business. I've got hugs after them that they're just so happy because they learn about their business. And then from that, we figure out what they need and how we can help them. So there's everything from implementing a CRM to help them manage their customers, and also just giving them a business plan and a business 2 to 5 year plan of what they should do. And then we have the staff to actually help them. So a lot of consultants will come in and go, hey, do all this stuff. And they're like, we're already doing everything. Like we can't do anymore.
Right.
So we come in and we take some of that workload off of them, take some of the stuff they don't like doing, and get them happy with the business again. So, giving them a little more time, making them more money, and just being happy being a business owner and not being overwhelmed.
Right on. So how does this overlap with the acting? So is the acting taking up a lot of your time, or you just wait for an audition, send it in, and then see what happens? see what happens.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. So Jason is great. He used to be an actor, and so he knows the business pretty well.
Nice.
And so he gives us a lot of flexibility, and so we're able to work around our schedules. And we're both in sales. So sales, you're working all the time anyway. So
right.
It's not a usual 9 to 5. Sometimes you get up early if you're selling out east, and then sometimes you're at a networking event till 11 at night. So
right.
So we're with both roles, they kind of fit hand in hand, and they work really, really well together.
Nice. And when it comes to acting, is there practice that you do or anything that you do? I've often said, look, the difference between a professional ball player and a hobby league or a beer league ball player is they're practicing all the time.
Yes.
And they make it look like magic when they get on the field, but they're practicing all the time.
Yes, 100%. So, the biggest thing you can do is take classes with professional actors. So, Carly Fawcett is one of them, Chad Rook. So me and Sequoia have taken both of their classes and got some real good gold out of them. Like from a year ago to now, after taking classes and learning the industry, I believe I'm a lot better actor than I was before. I thought it was decent. Kind of decent, but I think I'm a lot better now. And Sequoia's she's doing amazing, and just to watch her just grow and get better and better, it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it what kind of stuff do they teach you? Is it body language or,
Yeah, body language, like learning how to prep for the audition, even the technicalities of the audition, your background, like just small little things that can make a big impact. One of the biggest things from Chad Rook that I got was, when you watch him in his auditions, he puts out the script really well, but if you watch him outside the script, his reactions and his eye movements and what he does with his body and just little fidgety things, he's just brilliant. Wow. So it's really cool to see. And now when I watch a movie, I'm half watching the movie and then half watching the actors and what they're doing. So it's really cool to see. And he's exploding right now. He's on a couple of shows, Joe Pickett, and Billy the Kid, and he's doing a whole bunch of other things too. And he's actually coming here on Monday. So we're meeting up with dinner with him and his wife. So
very nice. Yeah. Where is that course that he does? And
it's on his page, Chadrick. Sequoia might know, but I'll give it to you so you can go. There's one coming up in the end of July. But if you're an actor and you want to, he is amazing at teaching. So we did a 2-day, it was about, I think it was a 2-day course, 5 hours in each one. And it was awesome.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Our skills are night and day after we took his course.
Incredible. I've heard some people say that even if you're in sales or in public speaking, taking an intensive acting class is really good, or an improv class can help you with your sales presentations and your public speaking.
Well, I didn't need that though, because I was such a good sales.
Right. You didn't need it.
I'm still learning in sales, and acting does help. And there's some things as self-awareness of when you're talking, and I think even through the acting, I've learned to listen a lot more. And I think my sales has gotten better because you really, if you're good at sales, in my opinion, you don't really need to talk much.
Right.
Because the business owner will typically tell you what they need. And because with IWG Corporate Services, we offer so many different services that typically if you talk to a business owner, let them talk for 20 minutes, we're going to fill 3 or 4 different holes for them.
Right.
Pretty quickly.
Makes sense. Yeah. I try to do real estate the same way. I'm not really a cold caller or anything like that. More of a consultant, an advisor, and
meet with 250 people doing podcasts.
Right.
Networker.
I think it's helped me a great deal to just kind of listen. The first one I did, I was so nervous, but people have said, I ask good questions and I help them open up. And that's really the key, I think, to sales or anything.
Yeah.
100%. It's just being a good listener and understanding what's important to the other person.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about you for a second.
Sure. Yeah.
How's real estate going this
year?
Real
estate is going good. So this year is quite good. I would say above average. The biggest challenge for me with real estate has always been, the ups and downs.
Yeah.
And I don't like to bug people. I don't like to call people and say, whatever you would say, because I'm just available. So if someone says, hey, Sunday afternoon, could you show me a house? And I say, yeah. And sometimes they'll say, thank you for coming out on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love looking at beautiful homes. Like, I'll work 7 days a week, day and night, doesn't matter. And in the meantime, I try to stay knowledgeable and know what's going on in the market. And I'll look at homes, even if I don't have anybody who wants to go with me to look at homes.
Really? See, that's dedication right there.
Right. So
I think that's the first time I've heard that. And I deal, with buzz marketing, I used to deal with a lot of real estate agents.
Yeah. So I found that helped to smooth out, because I would tend to, if it was slow and the phone didn't ring, I would tend to get depressed, and say, well, maybe I'm in the wrong career or whatever. And
then all of a sudden, $3 million home.
Right. Well, in 2013, 2014, it was really slow for me. And it was just like, paycheck to paycheck. So I was watching a real estate coach on YouTube, and he said, go preview the homes that you want to sell. So I just started doing that. And I noticed that I felt really good, like just looking at houses, right? And then when someone would walk into my office or call me and say, hey, you sold me this house 3 years ago, what's going on with the downtown condo market? And I could tell them, instead of saying, give me an hour, let me go online and check, right? I would say, I saw this one and it sold in 5 days, and here's what happened. Not to give a big speech, but I felt confident that I knew what I was talking about, that I could help this person.
That's a really good strategy, actually, for some of the new realtors out there. I know it's a tough market. I think there's, the last I heard the other day was there's over 2,000 in the Okanagan. Yeah. And before that, I heard 1,300. So I'm like, wow, it has exploded.
Well, we had some mergers. So our territory now goes from like Kamloops up to Shuswap down to the U.S. border, like past the Soyuz, and then the entire Kootenay region now.
Okay.
So we've merged like 3 or 4 real estate boards. So yeah, it's over 2,000. But I would say 90% of my business is repeat business or referral business.
Yep.
So it's really tough for a new agent. And I would recommend, this is what I did, previewing homes, becoming knowledgeable, and being useful. Try to tag along with someone who's more experienced.
Yeah.
I did really great just being like a bench warmer, or someone would say, listen, I've got a realtor, he's great, but could you give me some information, or could you show me a couple of homes because he's out of town? Now, you might think, well, this person's never going to do a deal with me, so what? Would I waste an hour of my life? But so many times something happened where they said, my realtor had to move to Alberta for family reasons, and you were so helpful to me, and I want to use you. Or my realtor did something and pissed me off. And he said something to my girlfriend, and I just don't want to see him anymore. Or he's away for 3 weeks. He's up at Big White. He's not answering any calls, and it's December 23rd, and I really want to see this place, right? Yeah. And I would show it to him, and I would sell it to him.
All you young real estate agents out there, talk to Luke. He'll give you the goods. It's not easy, and I see real estate agents coming up. I almost became one myself. I think that's some really good advice, is go out and get knowledgeable. Don't just sit there, because it's the leads don't come in. You gotta hustle for those leads. You gotta be visible. You gotta be online everywhere. So you gotta put in the work. It's not just going to come to you. Or find a mentor or a team that you can be a part of and learn from them. Like if I had a choice and was to become a realtor right now, I think I would probably join a team, a successful team, learn from the best, and then maybe go out on my own, or just keep going on with the team.
Absolutely.
But I think that's the best way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah. And the best way to learn from a mentor, because I always said, why can't I find a mentor? Like, I want a mentor. And I realized it was just being helpful. So if someone said, oh man, I gotta catch this flight, and I gotta deliver these keys, or I gotta do something, or I promised my client I would do an open house, but the wife wants to go to Vegas this weekend, and there's a great show, and we want to go see it. And I would say, I'll do the open house for you. Right. Yep. And just being helpful. So then in the future, they would say, hey, Luke, I'm going to be traveling. Do you want to co-list this house with me? Go talk to the client, put the sign up, do the lockbox, take the measurements. And I would say, yeah, because they knew I was reliable and I would do a good job. So, and then they would teach me exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Hence your success now.
Right.
How long you been in the business for?
So 10 and a half years in Kelowna.
Yeah.
But I was a property manager before that. I lived in the Cayman Islands. I lived in Florida. Grew up in Toronto.
Sounds like you need to be on my podcast so we can talk about your past.
Do you have a podcast?
No, but I'm gonna probably.
Okay.
I feel like I should have one.
Yeah, I think everybody should. Really, almost everybody. Not everybody.
You've actually inspired me. Like I like doing this type of thing, and why not make content out of it?
Exactly. Yeah, conversations are, it's the foundation of all business.
Yeah,
really having a conversation. So, very cool. So a little bit more about acting. Is there anything you wouldn't do? Like, can you imagine getting a script and saying, you know what, I'm not going to do that one? I
don't think so, because the one role where I had to be naked, I'm like, you know what, if I can't do those crazy things on camera, how do I expect to be doing the regular things? So I think, off the top of my head, I don't think so. Maybe something down the road, but like, I honestly, I'm open.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm going to get a bunch of calls after. Hey, I got a role for you.
Right.
Hey, whatever works.
Right. Yeah. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I think probably like most people at some point had the fantasy of being an actor or a musician, but I never really, seriously contemplated it. Yeah. Was there something in the last few years that made you say, hey, I'm 40 years old or close to it? I'm not sure.
Hey, Luke, you weren't supposed to say my age.
Okay.
Just joking.
I think you're 35, right?
Yeah. I'm 47.
Oh, wow. Well, you look amazing for 47.
Thank you.
You must have a routine or a diet or something.
Good genetics,
right? What happened in the last few years? Like, you have 4 decades of life, and then all of a sudden, hey, I'm going to be an actor.
When I was in my 20s, I did like 50 commercials for ICBC. So,
really?
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's when CHBC was the TV station back in the day. So I was on camera quite a bit when I was younger.
How did you get into that?
I just auditioned and got the part. Wow. So yeah, and my mom actually made me do it, which is, she's like, just go do it. And then when I got the call, they're like, you got the part. I'm like, wow, awesome. So I was shooting every week. We shot a new commercial.
Wow.
And so that kind of got me into it. And then when I met Sequoia, we just like, that was the boost I needed to go, let's go back into it, or at least for me anyways.
Right.
And yeah. And then actually, so this is kind of a funny story when you say rock star, is when I became an actor, I actually figured out that, yes, I like acting. It's awesome, but I actually want to be a rock star. So this is the first time I've said this out, like in the public. I've talked to some people, but I'm making an album. It's going to be a Nirvana like tribute album, but remade and probably with some other songs on it. But I'm just putting it out there because I'm doing it, and I'm going to become a rock star, I guess.
That's amazing. So do you do all the parts, like singing, guitar, everything?
I can't play any instruments, and I don't know if I can sing, but I'm just doing it.
Okay, so where do the instruments come from? Is it computerized?
Yeah, it's going to be a whole bunch of different things. So we'll have some live people. Like literally every musician and producer I've talked to in the industry, I'm like, I told them about it, and they're like, yeah, I want to be a part of it. Like no one said no to me, so I figure I'm on the right path.
Right. Have you seen MTV Unplugged with Nirvana?
Oh yeah.
And I saw it for the first time a few weeks ago with my wife, Kara. And I think we're just sitting around, drinking, and we're like, what are we going to watch? So we found this. And apparently they didn't play any of their hit songs, and everybody was like, oh, it's going to be a total disaster because they didn't want to play anything. And apparently it's one of the best like MTV Unplugged ever done. It's incredible.
It's killer. Yeah.
And Dave Grohl, the drummer, like I was like looking at him and I was like, I don't remember him being that young, he was like so young. And it's really awesome.
Yeah. Nirvana is my favorite band, so always has been. So
good to know. Good to know.
So, but it wasn't even my idea. It was a friend of mine, AK. He thought, he's like, we were just talking. He's a rapper, and he's like, yeah, I've always had this idea to do a Nirvana album. And I'm like, you realize that's my favorite band. I'm like, let's do it. He's like, okay.
Right.
So now we're doing it.
That's amazing.
I don't care how it happens. It'll just happen.
That's incredible. Do you have a studio? Do you have a space to
Yeah,
record?
there's a few spaces. So Buzz Marketing has a space, and yeah, we've got connections now. So there's a bunch of different spots we can go to. So I haven't sorted out all the details, but I've started writing. So I've written one song already, actually a couple of songs already, and yeah, so it's happening.
Wow. So is it correct to say it's a tribute album if you're writing your own songs, or would you say that Nirvana was your major influence?
Well,
it's not a tribute.
I don't know the answer to that. We're going to recreate the songs. So there's going to be Nirvana songs and probably some other ones like Stone Temple Pilots.
Like a remake.
Yeah, a remake. So the music might be changed a bit, but everyone's going to know what the song is.
Very cool.
And like the lyrics will be changed, I think. And who knows what's going to come of it, but once the creative juices start happening,
right,
there could be some original songs that come out too. Who knows?
One of the greatest obstacles I've heard about when it comes to acting or music or public speaking is people feel inhibited. So they're not as comfortable singing in front of people as they are singing in the shower or in their car when no one else is there.
Yeah.
And if you have that thing, which I think most people have, you sound pretty good when you're by yourself. And then when people are watching you, there's something that kind of pulls you back. I think most people who have tried to sing or do public speaking have felt this, that they can talk to their friends and be totally comfortable, but when they're on stage with the lights on them, they talk different. They're kind of inhibited.
I think, because I've been on video a lot of times. I've shot a lot of interviews, so I'm comfortable in front of the camera. The acting is the next level of that. I do get a little, I don't know if nervous is the right word, but I'm not me when I'm acting. So I'm portraying somebody else. So it's a little bit different too. But with the singing part, I know I'm going to have those inhibitions and I got to get rid of them. And I don't even know what the first day in the studio is going to be like. I know I'm going to be inhibited and I got to get rid of that.
Right.
And I already know that that's going to happen. And then you have auto-tune. So.
Right. Auto-tune is great. Yeah. Is it alcohol, or do you think it's just a lot of practice? Like just desensitization?
I think just practice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, alcohol could help too. But.
Yeah. It's dangerous though, right? Because if you overdo it, it's like,
then you can't sing.
Like, okay, stop.
I've sang a few times.
Right.
Yeah.
I noticed early days of public speaking, if I had a couple of drinks, that was okay. And obviously if you drink too much, it's, you look foolish, right? So that's interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing how that album turns out. And
if anybody wants to be part of it, get a hold of me. I'm making it happen. So
we'll put links to all your stuff in the show notes. And I'm really curious to hear how your acting career turns out, because it's almost brand new.
It is brand new. Basically,
you've got that experience with the TV commercial, so it's not exactly brand new, but your kind of dedication to it is new. It's exciting. Awesome. Mark, is there anybody you could think of? I didn't tell you in advance, but you may recall that I like for you to nominate someone to come on the show. And the only criteria is they have to agree with the title. So if they hate Kelowna, they're not allowed to come on the show.
I think you'll be okay with that one.
Right. And the second one is that you would enjoy hearing me interview them.
Yeah.
So it can be anybody.
So, Sequoia Wiseman. She's sitting behind me.
Okay.
She's in the studio.
And Sequoia is your fiancé.
Yes.
And you are in the acting business together.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So we will talk to Sequoia Wiseman in the near future.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Luke. It was such a pleasure. It was awesome.
Thank you, Mark.
You've been listening to I Love Kelowna. We love where we live. And how can you not? With all the provincial parks, pine forests, vineyards, orchards, mountains. On each show, we have in-depth, intimate conversations with entrepreneurs, execs, thought leaders, and creatives, all that make up Kelowna. You can support the show so we can keep producing by going to paypal.me/Luke Menkes. And make sure to visit the official website at ilovekelowna.buzzsprout.com. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from the show. And we hope you had some fun along the way. We'll be back soon. Until then, this is I Love Kelowna signing off.